You're listening to Three Things to Know with Stephanie Haney, with experts and insiders on what you need to know in Northeast Ohio.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the Three Things to Know podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Haney, and I am thrilled, as always, to have you here with us. And first, I want to start by saying, because today is Valentine's Day, Happy Valentine's Day to everybody listening out there, whether you are celebrating with a loved one or loved ones, or celebrating for yourself. I hope you have a wonderful day and are treated either by someone else or by yourself to something that makes you feel special. Now, this week, we basically have a love letter to the city of Cleveland because it's NBA All-Star Week here in the land. NBA All-Star Weekend is this weekend, February 18th through the 20th. Our guest today couldn't be more perfect to talk about this. We have the CEO and president of Destination Cleveland and the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, David Gilbert, joining us. He'll be with us in just a moment. But first, let's talk a little backstory about the NBA All-Star Game and the weekend that's coming here to Cleveland. You know, this is the 75th anniversary of the NBA. That's very special. We're very excited to celebrate this big moment for the NBA here in Cleveland. We've got some Cleveland representation. We have Cleveland Cavaliers' Darius Garland on the reserve squad. He was officially drafted to Team LeBron James, so he'll be playing with former Cavalier LeBron James, the kid from Akron, facing off against Team Kevin Durant. And let me just start by saying how great the NBA All-Star Game is for the city that it happens in, because these two teams are playing. They're both playing for charity. Team LeBron James is playing for Kent State's I Promise School, and Team Kevin Durant is playing for the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. And the way this works is, before the game even starts, each of those charities are getting $150,000. That's before tip-off even happens. And then during the first three quarters, you know, the players will compete for an additional $100,000 per quarter, based on who has the highest point total at the end of that quarter. And then there's an untimed fourth quarter that gets played to a designated point amount, and whoever reaches that score first gets another $150,000, plus all the other donations that come in. Nearly $1 million will be donated to both charities throughout the game through other partners and efforts. It's a huge win for our community here, okay? I know it's about the sports. I know it's about the excitement of having the celebrities and stuff in town, but that is amazing. Lots being poured into the city of Cleveland. That's something we'll talk about more with David Gilbert in just a moment. But we've also got some more representation in the NBA All-Star Game festivities, because it's not just the game. The game happens on Sunday, February 20th, but there's also the Rising Star Game. That's a little bit earlier, and we've got two Cleveland players that'll be competing there. That'll be Isaac Okoro for the sophomore squad and Evan Mobley. Fight on, go Trojans. We went to the same school. I went to USC for grad school, and you know, that's where Evan Mobley came from. Okay, so he'll be playing for the rookies, and that's very exciting. So we've got three Cleveland Cavaliers players competing in some aspect of NBA All-Star Weekend, which couldn't be more appropriate because this is actually the third time that All-Star Weekend has been here in Cleveland in the Northeast Ohio area. Back in 1997, it was here, and that was the 50th anniversary of the NBA. So I think it says something very special about Cleveland that they think of us when it comes to these big moments, these big milestones for the NBA. We get it here in Cleveland. You know, back then they played at the Gund Arena. That's before it was the Quicken Loans Arena. That's before it became the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Back when it was the Gund Arena. And the Eastern Conference won that year. Terrell Brandon was the Cavs representative back in that game. And then before that, the first time was 1981. That was at Richfield Coliseum. That's where the Cavs used to play. Long gone, okay? Now, if you want to compare how we stand when it comes to other major cities and how many times they've had the NBA All-Star Game, Los Angeles, I think we can all agree Los Angeles is a very big deal. They've had the All-Star Game 4 times. So we're right there. We're right behind LA. And you know, this is a big deal for it to be in the city. There is a little bit of controversy right now because Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb has decided to only allow 7 of the 87 businesses that applied to be able to serve alcohol later to give them that waiver so they can serve that alcohol till 4 a.m. Obviously, there's lots of factors that go into this. Something that's been mentioned by the mayor is the public safety issue, not only the COVID-19 pandemic and safety protocols in regards to that, but also police staffing. That is an issue. You know, I would have to wonder, here's the question that I would like to know the answer to. what is a regular police officer's schedule? So if we've got people who can be staffed for bars to typically stay open till 2 a.m. like they do, is it shift change between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.? I would venture to guess not. So I'm really wondering, what is the rub there? That's a question that I would like to know the answer to. So if anybody's got the answer to that question, shoot me a DM. Let me know. Curious about it. So, but even so, David Gilbert has spoken on this. He said that there'll be tens of thousands of people in town and that tens of millions of dollars in direct spending are expected to happen, despite 80 of those places not being allowed to stay open later. By the way, the 7 that are allowed to stay open later are all the major hotels, not necessarily local businesses. Another not great look. But anyway, I digress. We're going to talk about the great things that will be happening here in Cleveland this weekend. We're bringing in the co-chair of the local organizing committee, Destination Cleveland and Greater Cleveland Sports Commission CEO David Gilbert, to tell us all about that. Got a chance to talk to him a little bit earlier. We'll talk about when the events kick off, where to go, what to see, and what it means for the city of Cleveland to have the 75th anniversary of the NBA here celebrating NBA All-Star Weekend this weekend. So let's get to that conversation. David, thank you so much for being here on the Three Things to Know podcast.
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
Oh, this is such an exciting time to be here in Cleveland with the NBA All-Star Weekend right around the corner. How amped up are you for this?
It's awesome. You know, it's a process that started probably almost 4 years ago in terms of bidding on this event, competing with a lot of other cities, a lot of negotiation and contracts. And then, the last 2 years working, especially the last year, every day on this with not only our organization joined at the hip with the Cavs and lots of other community organizations, the city of Cleveland, to make sure that it's absolutely great while it's here.
Oh, and it's much better timing than it has been for some of the other things that we've had here. Last year we had the NFL draft when you can't really do it at the scale you want to, but things are just a little bit of a better place this year. So very, very excited for that.
Yeah, certainly, especially with the Omicron variant, COVID has certainly played a part in the planning, and there's going to be, some important health and safety protocols that are in place for all events. But thankfully, we're having it. It's going to be large, live, and not just seen all over the world, but enjoyed by tens of thousands here in Cleveland.
Absolutely. We'd love to bring those people here and show them the land. Talk to me a little bit about how important it is for the identity of Cleveland as a city to have things like this happening here.
It is critically important. A city like Cleveland, our size, doesn't often have sort of red carpet events. And to think, just in the past 4 or 5 years, having, the RNC, having MLB All-Star Game, NFL Draft, NBA All-Star Game, Rock Hall inductions here twice, and we'll be here every other year for the foreseeable future. It's really incredible. As a city that tries to stand out from the crowd, it's not always easy. We've had to battle some perception issues that are from things that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago. But those things take a long time to turn around. Events like NBA All-Star Game being here plays such an outsized role in helping us get over that and have people look at Cleveland very differently, to want to not just visit here, but to live here, invest here. And it means a lot to our city's future.
And talk about the timing. We have someone on the All-Star squad. Darius Garland just announced he'll be on the reserve squad. Great to have that here in the city.
Oh, it is. You team it up with how fantastic the Cavs have been all year. So far above people's expectations. So much excitement. Really NBA Cavs basketball being highly relevant again. And then that icing on the cake is Darius Garland being named an All-Star, and I have a feeling it's going to be the first of many.
Here's hoping for that. Now, you touched on this a little bit. You were talking about the process of bringing it here to the city, a 4-year process. I think a lot of people probably wouldn't realize that it actually takes that long. Do we have any idea what cities we were up against when they chose Cleveland for 2022?
I know there were a number. Charlotte was one, Indianapolis was one, Salt Lake was one, and those are cities that ultimately did get All-Star games. There's a number of cities, Portland, others that have never hosted one. This is our third. And especially what was also really important was that we got this year, which is a 75th anniversary. So it adds a lot of additional excitement, even more celebrities here, a year that we really wanted. And then, of course, a lot of it started with the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse transformation, which without that, we probably wouldn't have even been in consideration in the first place.
That is a beautiful facility. It really
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
really is. I am a little ashamed to say, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to say it. I went to my first Cavs game this season. It's been totally circumstantial. You know, I moved back. Things got a little hairy. I was living in other places, but it is a beautiful venue.
It is, and hopefully you'll be at many more
Yes.
packed for years to come. Packed venues, seeing a great team.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, now we talk about what it means for us, our identity, sort of like emotionally, what it means to have this event here in Cleveland. We love to have these things here, though, you know, because it does bring in money for our city. So what does it mean financially to have the NBA All-Star Weekend here in Cleveland this year?
You know, great question. It is one of the most significant events economically that Cleveland has the ability to host. Based on past studies, it's estimated that over $100 million in spending from outside of the region will take place in Cleveland. We're actually going to have a third-party economic impact study done, probably done about 3 to 4 months after the event. So we'll publish that. But based on all past accounts, it should mean over $100 million. And then on top of that, that doesn't include the media value. This event will be seen in over 200 countries around the world. It's estimated by the NBA that over 2 billion people consume some part of that event in some form of media, one of the most significant events anywhere in the world. And so much of that coverage will be highlighting our great city.
Putting the land on the map internationally.
Absolutely.
We absolutely
absolutely
love it. We love to see it. So I know we did mention, yes, we are still dealing with a COVID-19 situation, so there will be all the safety protocols in place and all of that. With that in mind, how many people do we think are coming into town for this event?
You know, it will be many tens of thousands. We don't have a final yet. And there are some, like especially some international travelers are having a tough time with COVID and the travel, but overall it's a small percentage. But it will be tens and tens of thousands. And one interesting thing about this, it really is the NBA's party in our city. And we work very hard with the NBA and above and beyond that there are lots of opportunities for the local community to get involved, to take advantage in events that are free or low cost, a lot of legacy programs. But it is the vast majority of the people who will be in the arena for the All-Star game, for All-Star Saturday night, will be from out of market. And there's actually a big advantage to that because those are all outside dollars. Those people are coming in. They are paying high hotel rates, eating at our restaurants, spending lots of money around the community. And that's where so much of this economic impact comes from.
You know, you talk about the restaurants and things downtown too. I've noticed, you know, watching this beat a little bit, the things that are happening downtown, lots of new places popping up. Great timing for that with all these people coming into town.
Yeah, Stephanie, you're right. You know, COVID was such a tough time, especially that first year or so after the lockout, that around the country and here in Cleveland, so many restaurants closed. They just couldn't survive that time when people couldn't or then wouldn't eat in their restaurants. And so we're finally seeing a lot of new sort of green shoots, if you will, a lot of those empty places opening back up. And I do think that, to your point, a number of them want to make sure that if they were going to open and be ready for this summer, why not open and be ready for the All-Star game?
Absolutely. I've got a list about a mile long of places that I want to hit now between spring and summer. Bring
Yes.
it on. Get them ready.
Yes.
Now, the NBA All-Star Weekend, it starts officially February 18th. It's February 18th through 20th. When do we expect people to start getting into town? They won't come that day, right?
Correct. It's interesting. Some people are already here. A lot of the people that are here for production of the event have already moved to Cleveland. They're living here. I would say most of the guests will be coming in Tuesday and Wednesday. With some of the events even start Wednesday and Thursday, and of course the main official NBA events are largely that Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And it's estimated, Stephanie, that there's somewhere between 400 and 500 private parties and events that will be taking place over that weekend all over town. Almost every venue you can think of, we've heard anecdotally, are booked. And this is downtown, in our neighborhood, some in the suburbs. It's celebrities, sponsors, teams, other folks that are renting places out to have private events and private parties.
So what you're telling me is I need to put my investigative journalism hat on so that I can find out where these events are happening.
Yes.
We need somebody there on the ground, I think, reporting on what's happening.
I think we probably do. I will tell you, it's interesting. Even if you ask the NBA, they don't know of all these events, and a lot of these are people that are part of the NBA family, if you will, former players, current players, and others. But they're not official NBA All-Star Game events. So it's interesting that there are all these things taking place, and a lot of them we just kind of find out, by hearsay or happenstance. But we've heard about a lot of interesting celebrities that will be in town holding some pretty cool events.
Oh, are there any you can name drop, or is it all top secret?
I think none that I can confirm, just that we've heard. I think that's where your investigative journalism hat comes in.
Okay, well, I will be going to my closet and putting that hat on immediately as soon as we're done with this conversation. You can believe that. All right, let's talk about the official events that are happening. You said some of them even on Wednesday. So what's our rundown look like for the weekend?
Well, I'm going to do this from memory. So I will say, first and foremost, the best place to go is the NBA Events app. That will list everything, and you can even link there to where tickets are purchased. You have the big game, the All-Star Game at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on Sunday night, All-Star Saturday night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That's the slam dunk 3-point shootout. And you also have the Rising Stars Challenge that Isaac Okoro and Evan Mobley from the Cavs will be playing in. You also have over at Wolstein Center, you've got the Celebrity Game. You have an HBCU game, a G League game. There's different media sessions going on. We're putting on locally through the Sports Commission the Power of Sports Summit, free event, 3 days, awesome programming with a lot of NBA celebrities and some really cool programming all taking place downtown. And that's, and also I think real important, the crossover event, which is sort of what people think about as a fan fest. That'll be taking place at Cleveland Public Hall on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Very cool event. Tickets still available.
So not just at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. We are really kind of spreading the love around the Cleveland area with some of these things.
We are really the three primary venues for events for the public are Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Wolstein Center at CSU, and Cleveland Public Hall. And there's also going to be a lot of other sort of NBA, more invite-only private events taking place at our convention center. So really all over town, and that's just the official. And as I mentioned, unofficial stuff everywhere.
And here is a hot tip for people who are listening and watching. That competition that you mentioned, I have it on good authority that our Kiera Cotton will be there. She will be hosting parts of that event.
That's awesome. I have heard that as well. And I'll tell you, it's going to be a lot of really cool stuff. And, the All-Star Game, it's an expensive ticket, and the vast majority of tickets aren't even available to the public. But there are still so many events that are available to the public that are as low as $30, $35. And it's a great way, and again, some free, that our local community can take advantage and be part of this. And it's not just that they're going to watch a great event on TV in their city, they can really come and take part of it. And then adding to the fact that, again, these $100 million plus are being spent with local vendors and local places, downtown neighborhoods. It's going to have a long lasting effect.
Yes, bring those dollars here to Cleveland.
Yes.
Spend them, have a good time, check out our places. All right, I have one more question for you. Maybe you can give us a little bit of insight on this. Do you think that any places that you can suggest that might be a good spot for some celebrity sighting while the people are here in town? Aside from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, of course.
Yeah, I will say, if you go to the crossover, there's going to be a lot of autograph signing sessions. And on the NBA Events app, they'll have a listing of who and where and when. Beyond that, I would say I don't have any any real big tips. I'm sure as the days come, we'll hear a little bit more about where some of those private events are. And I'm guessing, the thing about social media is once one person knows, the world knows. So I think people are going to be, going to be watching this all the time to see to see what things they can find out.
Well, listen, if I see it, I promise to retweet it. So if you're not following me on Twitter, now's the time. _ Stephanie Haney. Get there.
Good plug.
All right.
Good plug.
Right. Yeah, no problem with shameless self-promotion here. All right, David, thank you so much for making time to talk with us. Super excited to have the NBA All-Star Weekend here in Cleveland. Thank you for everything that you've done and for the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission for helping to make this happen. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate your having me.
Big thanks to David Gilbert for coming on and talking with us and laying all that out and how exciting this is for the city of Cleveland. Again, a real love letter to the city of Cleveland directly from the NBA having this event here in town. Very excited for it. So let's get to what you need to know in NEO for NBA All-Star Weekend. Let's start off with the fact the Celebrity All-Star Game is at 7 p.m. on Friday, February 18th. That's at the Wolstein Center. And some of the people who will be playing are very big names here in Cleveland. Head coach Kevin Stefanski had previously said that Myles Garrett had retired from basketball. Well, he's out of retirement because he will be playing along with Cleveland native and rapper Machine Gun Kelly, also actor and comedian Tiffany Haddish, rappers Jack Harlow and Quavo, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb, he'll be playing in the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game, and the Cleveland Cavalier legends Anderson Varejao and Daniel Boobie Gibson, they'll be playing. We've got the full roster on WKYC.com. I will link that. These teams will be coached by NBA legends Bill Walton and Dominique Williams. Now, as I also mentioned too, we've got 2 Cavaliers playing in that Rising Stars game. We've got Isaac Okoro for the sophomores. We have Evan Mobley for the freshmen. That's at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on Friday. That's at 9 p.m. to check that out. We also have a full list of other things going on WKYC.com. Our Kiera Cotton has been keeping this up to date, getting all the information from all of you who know what's going on out there. And she'll be hosting one of the events, the Power of Sport Performing Arts Competition. That's on Saturday, February 19th. That's at the Cleveland Metropolitan Conference Center. That's at 4 p.m. We have a link on WKYC.com for tickets for that. Also, another big deal. On Friday, February 18th through Sunday, February 20th, the Crossover event. This is happening at the Cleveland Public Auditorium. This is a real intersection of basketball and culture with art, fashion, music, technology, entertainment. People will be able to get into immersive experiences there. There will be NBA and WNBA talent there. There'll be some limited edition merchandise if you want to stock up on your swag. Art and customized apparel opportunities, all kinds of stuff. We've got that up on WKYC.com as well. And of course, the game itself, the NBA All-Star Game, that's Sunday, February 20th at 7 p.m. That's at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And something you're going to want to download if you're at all interested in any of these things going on is the NBA Events app. That'll keep you up to date with real-time updates on what's happening, when, where, also if there are tickets that are still available to anything. So check that out. And again, all of this stuff linked on WKYC.com. It's in our WKYC app. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be linked in the show notes. If you're listening on a podcast platform, it'll be linked in the info there as well. And if you're watching this on Instagram, head to WKYC.com/3thingstoknow. Everything will be linked in there in the article. Or again, you can find it in one of the podcasts or on the WKYC YouTube page. And that brings me to a good follow. Speaking of Instagram, for this event, this is your go-to for all things NBA All-Star Weekend. You can follow NBA All-Star on Instagram. Lots of updates there. Lots of cool, just sort of like extra content related to the people and the things that are happening. So again, that's on Instagram, NBA All-Star. And that is it for this week's episode of 3 Things to Know. Thank you so much for being here with me, you guys. I really love our chats. I love having these conversations with you. Even though I'm talking to you and you can't talk back to me, you can always reach me. You can hit me in my DMs, _ Stephanie Haney. You can leave a comment on any of these posts. I do want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking of the show. I want to know what you would like to hear talked about. If you have something that you think people need to know in NEO, let me know. Or if there's someone great with a local tie that you're following on social media, let me know so we can get that person or that place or that thing in a good follow and really spread the love. And if you're liking the podcast, I would love if you would share this podcast with people, subscribe, leave a rating and review so that we can connect with more people here in Northeast Ohio, because the more people we connect with, the better our Need to Know and NEO segments will be, the more good follows we'll find, and the better conversations we'll be able to have. All right, thanks for being here with me, you guys. Again, have a very happy Valentine's Day, and I hope you find some time to enjoy NBA All-Star Weekend descending on Cleveland this week. I'll see you back next week with more 3 Things to Know.
Thanks for listening to 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney from WKYC Studios. Subscribe now to stay in the know.